Hi, everybody. Welcome to Marty Time TV. Happy Tuesday. I'm Marty Caswell. Thank you guys so much for joining me on my channel. We're here to talk Padres, and what a great time to go ahead and talk Padres. We'll be joined shortly by our friend AJ Cassavell, my press box buddy. Oh, there he is. There's AJ Cassavell. There's so much to talk about with the Padres. I started taking notes early yesterday in advance. We have injuries, we have center field, we have earthquakes. And then the Padres had a game like they had last night. And I'm starting all over with my notes because yesterday's win was so impressive. It was such a vibe. Yesterday was a vibe. I'm not sure if it came through on TV, but if you were at Petco Park, if you were one of the 47,000 people that were there at Petco Park, man, it was absolutely amazing. Before I bring on AJ Cassavell to the show, I want to say that we are brought to you by the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. AJ, how are you? How's everything?
I'm doing great. You're right. That game last night was kind of wild. I think it was mainly because they got kind of challenged at Petco Park. They've won every game so easily there this season. They got challenged and it was almost like the crowd reacted. Like the crowds have been great all year.
Yeah.
When it needed to, the crowd stepped up last night. It was pretty cool to see.
I think the crowd was also shocked when a Padres starter gave up runs. When Dylan Cease allowed a home run, it was like, whoa! It was shock in the building. The streak had ended. I know that people are blaming you for jinxing because you had pointed out that they had what their scoreless streak was. Was it 34 innings at Petco Park?
I think it was 37.
37 innings at Petco Park.
I don't read the comments, so that's up to they can blame all they want.
I'm there for you. I read the comments, so there you go. Before I get to what happened in the game, everything's good in AJ Cassavell's land. There was an earthquake yesterday. I was getting ready to go ahead and talk to Tim Kirchin, and it shook me. It rattled me. I mean, PB was shaking. How is it in your neck of the woods?
Yeah, similar. It was kind of crazy. I was just lying in bed, so there wasn't too much going on. But it was just it was one of the bigger ones I felt, and it was pretty intense. I was at Dodger Stadium for the one in 2018 or 19, whenever Eric Lauer was on the mound, and none of them felt it. But that was freaky.
Eric Lauer.
The press box shook for a solid 30 seconds there, but this is one of the bigger ones I felt in San Diego.
Dodger killer Eric Lauer. That's a really, really good memory.
That's right. Yeah, he probably pitched well that game because it wasn't at Dodger Stadium.
Absolutely. Okay, I want to go ahead and jump into last night's game. Other than the outstanding performance from Fernando TatÍs Jr., what else stood out to you about last night's win?
Just the way that they got. I don't know. There were a couple misplays in the field, the Gavin Sheets bloop, and all of a sudden the Padres have a couple guys on base. And then, I mean, I don't know if it felt like this to fans who are living and dying with the moment, but it felt to me like they were going to win the game when they were down by 2. Like they had 2 guys on base, and the way they've put together these rallies this season, it's been you can't do that against the Padres. You can't misplay a blooper. You can't let a ground ball get through the infield. When that stuff happens, the Padres find a way to beat you, and then they did exactly that. I think that was the most impressive part to me. And like I said, this was the first time at home since opening day. If you go back and look through, I think I did some. There have been 99 innings at Petco Park this season, and the Padres have led after 74 of them. They've just dominated for the most part all season long. Since opening day, they haven't been tested. I guess maybe that Saturday game against the Braves. They've just dominated everyone. They beat the hell out of the Rockies. They beat the hell out of the Guardians. And last night they got tested and rose to the occasion, which was impressive in a different way than what they'd been doing at Petco Park.
Right. It's one thing to go ahead and sweep the Rockies and absolutely dominate them the way they did. The Chicago Cubs are a very, very good team. I think this is a team that a lot of people would think will be a playoff team, right? One of the better teams in the Central. They're going to be tested tonight with Shota Himanaga, who's a very, very tough pitcher. But before you came on, I was looking at the schedules to see, when's their next true test going to be? After tomorrow, they have an off day. They go to Houston, and then Detroit, and then the San Francisco Giants at Petco Park when they return. That's going to be something.
Yeah, that'll be fun. And Houston and Detroit, both those are. I know the whole American League is mediocre. It seems like.
Yeah.
But I would say those would be 2 of the better tests in the AL. Right now, I think that. Correct me if I'm wrong. That Padres Tigers series might be a battle between the team with the best record in the AL and the best record in the NL. So the road trip will be a test in a way because the Padres have done so well at Petco Park. And they're 3-3 on the road. Obviously, a very small sample. But yeah, those division games, when they come, the division games, particularly against the Giants, Dodgers, and Diamondbacks, when they come, they're going to be really intense because this division is really, really good.
It is really, really good, and I'm just thinking, like, somebody sent me a message yesterday on Twitter saying, what is it? What is that vibe like? I've been a Padres fan forever, and you know how it was in the past. You would hear a ton of Cubs fans. Yesterday, you heard all the Padre fans. I mean, they were
Yeah.
47,000 people. For those who weren't there, can you just describe what it's like to cover that? I mean, so much of last night in post game was about TatÍs and how fantastic he was, and of course Dylan Cease, a bounce back after that disaster in Sacramento. But a huge part, the line of questioning of the players in post game was, dude, 47,000 people on a Monday night. That's tremendous.
Yeah, and some of them were quick to point it out too. Like someone came up to me before the game, maybe like 20, 30 minutes before. I was just like, "Whoa, look at Gallagher Square," and it was packed. It was like jammed. It was a Monday night. So like, I mean, the Padres seem to break attendance records like 2 or 3 times a month. So like whatever the number is, whether it's the third biggest or the eighth biggest, I don't think that's what's important. I think what's important is more just the vibe of the ballpark and the fact that like these players are saying it's carrying them. These players
Yeah.
are saying that like they're not sure what it is, like whether their play is inspiring the fans or whether the fans are inspiring their play, but it's clearly a little bit of both. And like that to me is what's impressive.
I would completely agree. All right, AJ, you wrote about the Padres win, about Tatis. Yesterday, Padres made some news, of course, in pregame, and they called up Connor Joe. I mean, last week we're talking about how do you replace Jackson Merrill, right? And then you had the injury to Brandon Lockridge. Yesterday, Connor Joe is called up. What do you know about the role that we should expect for Connor Joe?
Not a ton, other than like we know that he played first base and left field a lot in spring training and primarily first base there, but they already have a ton of first basemen. So how does he fit? I don't know. I think we're gonna find out tonight because they're facing a left-hander. So like that's your chance to see where all the pieces fall when Connor Joe plays. Because if he's playing, he should be playing tonight. Center field is the big question now. Like they called up Connor Joe because they really don't have any other big league center field options with Jackson Merrill and Brandon Lockridge out. And so Tyler Wade, not a center fielder, very versatile player, probably your best option in center field.
Wow.
So like I think you can feel okay with him defensively in center field, but you can't approach you can't go into games thinking Tyler Wade is going to play 9 innings in center field no matter what. Like there could be pinch hit opportunities that arise. There could be other situations. So I think if Tyler Wade's starting as your baseline, you need to have other options as well to go along with him. I'm just curious to see what those are. Are they Jason Hayward sliding to center field and allowing you to put a righty bat in left field, and then Jason Hayward's playing left on left? Do they just overload the right-handed hitters in the lineup when they're facing a lefty? Like, do they put Connor Joe in center field? Mike Schilt mentioned that, but he kind of said he wanted to shy away from it. Connor Joe in center, Oscar Gonzalez in left. A lot of this, I think, is also predicated on defense. Like, if the Padres are getting what they're getting from TatÍs and they're getting what they're getting from the top of their lineup and their pitching is dominant, like, what do you really need out of your number 8 hitter? In which case, I would say, like, maybe Tyler Wade gets that start and you drop him to 9 instead of 8 against the left-hander. So, like, grand scheme, because of what I just said, I don't think it's that big a deal who the center fielder is, but it really is interesting because the options on the there is no natural center fielder on this team.
As the roster is currently constructed, and a couple guys who could be available, who are from AAA, from El Paso, who is the best offensive option in center field? Who is the best defensive option in center field? And are we getting to a point where, I know a couple of years ago was Joe Musgrove had to go out and play left field, right? What are the Padres' absolute fringe options should they need to go ahead and bring some from their immediate roster?
I think they're okay there. I don't think they're going to have I mean, that was back when I believe that was the last year of pitchers hitting, so there were a whole bunch of hits, and there were
you could do that.
So that was necessitated by like the way the flow of a game with pitchers hitting went. Don't think we're going to see that again. Musgrove,
and I
guess would be the guy, but he can't be the guy. So I don't know who would be the guy on this roster. Some decently athletic pitchers. Anyway, I digress. So I guess center field, the best defensive option, probably Tyler Wade. Jason Hayward has played there before. He's played there the most of anyone, but he hasn't played there in a long time. Clearly a really good defensive outfielder. Range probably limited compared to what it was when he was winning Gold Gloves in the 2015, 16, 17. So, probably Tyler Wade's the best. I mean, if we're being honest, the best defensive option is probably Fernando Tatis Jr.
But that's not going to happen.
But that's been ruled out by
Right.
Tatis, by Mike Schilt, by the Padres, and I think rightly so. Like, they're not trying to find the center fielder for the whole rest of the season. They're trying to find a replacement for a few weeks until they get these guys healthy. So it's not like, so I think we can rule that out of there, but I just kind of wanted to add that caveat that the best defensive and offensive option is Tatis, and then moving guys around there, but that's not going to happen. And I think probably wisely, the Padres have a very good thing going with Tatis in right field. So I'll say Wade is the best option defensively. Offensively, I think it might be Wade against, like, Wade in center, Hayward in left against right-handed pitching. But when you face lefties, I want to see what happens tonight. Connor Joe and Oscar Gonzalez. Probably Oscar Gonzalez fits in there somewhere because I liked what I've seen out of his at-bats so far.
Is the top of the order, and so far the top of the order has been encouraging. You know, Luis Ariz is really heating up. Tatis, Machado, even Bogarts has been a lot better this season. But is the top of the order, is it strong enough to go ahead and cover up some of the holes that you have in your lineup, whether it's going to be Gurriel DHing or more playing time for Jason Hayward? I'm going to get to the whole Hayward conversation shortly, but from what we've seen, small sample size, is the top of the order who playing up to expectations good enough to cover the deficiencies they do have in this roster?
Sure seems like it. Like, those guys are mashing, and like the deficiencies on the roster are only what they are in so much as, like, those guys are still doing little things to help set the table for the guys at the top of the order. The bottom of the lineup has been better than the Padres probably would have expected, given the guys they have, because of the way they're playing. They're playing really good small ball. They're moving runners. They're getting on base when they need to. They're setting the table for those guys. Like, Tatis is playing at an MVP level.
Yeah.
Luis Ariz, like, I don't think his average is probably what he wants it to be, but he's like, I think he's a product of, I think, a lot of batted ball luck, obviously, because he puts the ball in play every time he's at the plate. And I think his at-bats have been better than that, and Machado's been solid, and you've gotten what you've gotten from Gavin Sheets. Like, Bogarts has been good. So you're getting production from those top five, and you're having the bottom 3 or 4 set the table. I think absolutely the Padres can count on the top of the lineup, especially when the pitching staff's doing what it's doing. It's really a fully complementary brand of baseball right now.
Did the injury last week, was it last week, to Jackson Merrill? Did the injury to Jackson Merrill and then ensuing injury to Brandon Lockridge buy Jason Hayward some more time in this roster? And let me tell you this, Jason Hayward is a player I would have loved to have covered in his prime, right? I mean, he is obviously a great player, great resume, World Series champ. He's the kind of guy you want around your young players, says and does all the right things. But would Jason, I was surprised, number one, that he made this roster out of spring training. And I'm just wondering if those injuries bought him some more time on this current Major League roster.
I don't know if he was the guy, because there were some other, like, Gurriel had been struggling a little bit too, and Oscar Gonzalez was a guy that the Padres really liked in spring training, and I think they wanted him, and he had an awesome spring training. He hits the ball hard. His at-bats are tough. Like, I think the Padres wanted to give him a shot at some point. So the question is, like, who would become the odd man out? Is it Gurriel? Is it Hayward? The Padres, I think, also knew that, like, it's a baseball season. Guys are going to get hurt. So if Oscar Gonzalez starts the season in AAA, then you keep those guys in the organization, and you have a chance to bring him up at some point. And sure enough, a week and a half into the season, that's exactly what happened. So I do think that as these guys get healthy, and I don't know the order of who's coming back first, I would say Lockridge, Merrill, Cronenworth. But as these guys get healthy, they're going to have to make some decisions, because if those guys aren't hitting, and the guys that the Padres have called up, guys like Connor Joe and Oscar Gonzalez, are hitting, the Padres are going to have some decisions to make. Hayward, I wouldn't expect to be one of the guys that's kind of on the fringe there right now, because he's good enough defensively. He can play center field. He's a quality clubhouse guy. He's a left-handed bat. Like, right now, they're overloaded on those righty hitting kind of options in the outfield. I think Hayward's doing enough defensively to kind of solidify himself. But, like, when all 3 of those guys get healthy, and that's a long way away, and a baseball season never unfolds where everyone's healthy, but when all 3 of those guys are healthy, the Padres will have some very tough decisions to make with guys like Hayward and Gurriel.
Okay, you brought up the injuries. Who could return in what order? And you said Lockridge likely first.
Yeah, don't hold me to this, because
okay. No, I'm holding you to. I'm going to record this right now and tweet this out.
Yeah, they're very vague about their injuries and
I know.
the timelines that come with them. Just from the way that I heard Mike Schilt talk about Lockridge, he seems to be playing it up as more minor than what Jackson Merrill's is, where I don't think they're playing Jackson Merrill's up as major, but they're talking about needing rest for him, whereas with Lockridge, it's, well, we needed to put him on the IL because that's just how these things go, but it seems, I think Schilt even used the word minor, so I don't know. I know Merrill's not swinging and running yet, so that would lead me to believe that there's still some time to go. But that, like, Merrill's obviously the guy they need back the most of all those guys. Like, Cronenworth's been an incredible at bat this season. He's gotten on base over 400 clip, but Jose Iglesias fills that role pretty well.
By the way, Jose Iglesias has been terrific for the Padres so far.
Yep. So, and this is exactly what they wanted when they got him. I had someone because the fit wasn't like obvious when they signed him, because they did have a full infield, but his defense is so good, and he's so, like, I think he brings that level of flashiness defensively paired with just like solidness. Like, he doesn't do it to be flashy. That's just how good he is. His defense is so good, and it's so revered by everyone that, like, when they signed him, I had someone reach out to me and say, like, we wanted to keep our defensive identity after losing Ha-Sung Kim. Yeah. And this was the guy that you bring on, even though he's not going to play every day like Kim did, because that's who the Padres infield is. And sure enough, like, if you have 5 infielders, chances are one of them's gonna be hurt for a little bit. If you have 5 infielders, you're good to go with 4 spots, because you'll find playing time. There's a DH spot to go around if you need it. And Iglesias has been really solid defensively, and his at-bats have been really good. Especially lately, I think he maybe got off to a slow start without much playing time. But lately he's looked good, and the Padres have been able to just kind of plug and play him with Jake Cronenworth out.
What's the update on Jake Cronenworth? I know the last time I talked to him, he said that sneezing and laughing is painful. What's the expectation on his injury? I mean, fractured ribs. Wow. Yeah.
Again, the Padres didn't give us a timeline. I went back and looked at some. Oh man, I wish I could remember exactly which players had similar non-displaced fractured ribs. About a month is what some of those guys were. Maybe 6 weeks was what some of those guys were. So that was not the Padres timeline. Maybe this injury is different. They're not telling us. But that's what I gathered. So that would, I guess, be like early mid-May would be. And that's at that point, I think, is when it heals, and then it's a pain tolerance thing. And so the Padres need to keep him down for an extra week to make sure it heals even further, to make sure they're getting the best version of Jake Cronenworth. Like I said, I think they would feel comfortable doing that because of what they're getting out of Jose Iglesias.
Yu Darvish threw off the mound. What was that? 2 days ago?
Oh man,
2 days ago. I know it's all blending in. It's all blending in. AJ.
Today, is today Tuesday? I thought it was.
I don't know what day it is. I don't even know where I am anymore.
Either way, that's obviously a positive sign. Like, I think they're going to take it slow with Darvish, but he had been playing pretty aggressive catch, and I would guess 2 rehab starts is what he needs. Okay. Like, whether those are Arizona or whether those are at an affiliate, 2 rehab starts, and then when you get him back, he's not going to be. I wouldn't expect 100 pitch Yu Darvish in his first game back. So it's so if you're adding it up, 3-4 bullpens, 2-3 rehab starts, maybe a similar timeline to Jake Cronenworth, maybe about a month away. Okay.
I still get a lot of when Luis Campusano has a good game in the minors. I get questions from listeners. When's he coming up? Blah blah blah. Are the Padres fine with their current catching situation? Do you think, barring injury, that Luis Campusano still has a role in this organization, or do you think they expect to go just see what happens in the offseason?
Yeah, I think, like, barring injury, when you have 2 30-plus-year-old catchers currently anchoring, like, you need that third catcher in the minor leagues. So I think they're very happy with what they're getting from catcher. They're getting more offense than they thought, but you look at what the pitching staff has done, and that's been the real impetus behind bringing these 2 guys in. Like, they like the way they work with pitchers, and you cannot say a bad thing about what the Padres pitchers have done. Yeah. Like, I think a lot of people were skeptical of Martin Maldonado, and I was 100% one of them because of what he did last season at the plate and because of some of his defensive metrics. But people have raved about his preparedness and game planning and what he does for a pitching staff. So I think you don't mess with it. You don't mess with it until you have to. Those guys have been solid, and the pitchers love them, and the Padres are getting everything they want out of pitching. And they have a great top 5 in their lineup right now. So they can carry the day if those catchers start to struggle at the plate, which I assume they will because of their track records. But again, that's not the emphasis for those catchers.
I saw, I think Brian Hoeing in the Padres clubhouse yesterday. I didn't get a chance to talk to him. I can't remember if Mike Schilt had an update on him. I don't think he did yesterday, or if he was asked in his pregame, because he was telling his really boring earthquake story. Schilt promised me it'd be a really fun, entertaining story, and I told him he disappointed. It was not interesting at all. Schilt, to sum it up, had no idea it was an earthquake. So there you go.
Well, but, I mean, in his defense, he's not an earthquake guy. He doesn't know what it is. So
yeah, but if the ground is shaking,
we've all heard those earthquake stories about thinking it's something outside or something on the roof. Maybe that was. I mean, I assume that was a new experience for him. But
right.
Hoeing, I think was. I think he's throwing a bullpen this week is the plan, which he basically has a shortened spring training, but whole spring training's worth of build-up because he didn't get going at all during spring training. So, this bullpen's been really, really good, and then you're going to be adding guys like Brian Hoeing and Sean Reynolds to it.
Okay.
This has been the best bullpen in baseball for I've tried to write that a million ways, and people are going to complain when the Padres inevitably blow a game. They haven't relinquished a lead all season. Every single time a reliever has had a lead, they have kept that lead. That's all you can ask for from the bullpen. The runs they have allowed have been non-consequential, and the back end of the bullpen has been outstanding. Lowest ERA, lowest bullpen ERA in baseball. This bullpen's been incredible, and it's going to get 2 guys added to it. One of whom, Brian Hoeing, is a pretty important piece because of the multiple innings that he can cover. Even he's not a back-end high leverage guy, but
long innings, mid relief.
Yeah, and that just adds to what the pitching staff's capable of.
I'm going to take Padres fans back a little bit, not that far. It's during the Petco Park era, but when you're talking about how good those 3 have been, it's reminding me of. Do you remember Aki Otsuka?
Yeah,
Japanese pitcher. Yeah. Otsuka, Scott Linebrink, Trevor Hoffman.
That's Clay Meredith fit into all that. He was there for one of those years.
Yeah, I think he was. He was, but was he? He was like a 6th inning. Yeah. He fits in there. He's in the rotation.
Otsuka had I think one of the better rookie relief seasons in Major League history. So yeah, that's a good pull.
Aki Otsuka is one of my favorite players of all time together. That guy was awesome. He had his own Corky's pest control commercial. I remember when he first got here, I took him out to dinner to Sushiota, where Yu Darvish went when he got here. Anyways, long story. I'm having flashbacks right now. I can tell Padres stories forever. AJ, Padres, I know you have to get going in a second, but Padres road trip coming up after tomorrow, off day. You're going to skip Houston. You'll be in Detroit. This is the important stuff. What's the beer in Detroit? Where does one go for the beer in Detroit?
Well, so I almost never stay in Detroit. I have family that lives 30 minutes north of Michigan, but because this is such a quick series, 30 minutes north of Detroit in Michigan, this is such a quick series, so I'm going to be kind of in and out. So I'm actually staying in Detroit. The answer is Bell's, Bell's Two Hearted, Bell's Oberon. I love all those beers. So
Bell's Two Hearted. That's the okay.
Have you not had that, Marty?
I've never had it.
Oh, it's a classic.
Are you doing Carry On again?
Yes, I always do Carry On. The question is whether it's a 6-game trip, then I got to pack a lot of stuff in. But I always do Carry On.
Yeah. Okay. Good deal. All right. Well, I'm expecting a full review. For those of you sticking around, AJ, you're so great with your time. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to force you guys to listen to me asking Manny Machado earthquake questions. He did not want to talk about it. He was so annoyed with me, but I have to ask that question, right? And we'll get to Fernando TatÍs yesterday in his post game. And by the way, Jason Hayward, we had this conversation about what a great clubhouse guy he is. He didn't want to talk about earthquakes either. And he did talk about the difference between a SoCal earthquake and a tornado in the South. But I asked him about the Padres roster being tested by adversity right now. Because I'm sorry, when you don't have Yu Darvish, right? And Joe Musgrove's been gone. We knew that for a while. But when you lose Jackson Merrill and then Brandon Lockridge, that's significant. He says, that's not adversity. What are you talking about? He was shocked. I was asking him my dumb question on adversity, but that's why Jason Hayward's a dude, right? He gets it.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a fair way for them to look at it. He was also kind of taken aback that I asked him about playing center field. He's like, we'll figure that out. It's not, I don't know. But there are questions to ask, and he said he's down to play center field if it comes up. And sure enough, Mike Schilt said so later. But they don't view this as adversity, even though it clearly is.
It is
clearly, yeah. I went through their roster and their injured list. They have 7. They have more than 25% of what their roster should be is currently on the injured list.
That's
and
unbelievable.
They're still winning games. They still have the best record in baseball.
And they're finding ways to win. Okay, good deal. All right, AJ, thank you for your time. I know you've got a meeting to get to. I'm gonna. For those of you sticking around, I'm gonna play some Jason Hayward from last night and Machado and TatÍs. I don't believe I will be at Petco Park today, which guarantees that TatÍs will hit for the cycle. Randy Vasquez will throw a no-hitter, and something else remarkable is going to happen. So AJ Cassavell, enjoy it. By the way, because right now I'm still learning the personalities on this team. I'm going to task you, AJ Cassavell, to go up to Nick Pivetta today and ask him about earthquakes. I want you. He doesn't have any time for our dumb questions.
Doesn't strike me as an earthquake guy.
He's not. That's why I'm asking you to go ahead and do it, because I'm afraid of him. He reminds me of Chris Young. Like, you better make it crisp. You better to the point. Keep your questions short, and then get out of his way. That's Nick Pivetta, and he's delivering. So, all right, AJ, you're not going to ask, are you?
Probably not, but we may ask about a start tomorrow, and so I'll see if I can throw in an earthquake question if it comes up.
All right, that sounds great. All right, take care, AJ. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, thanks, Marty.
All right, see ya. All right, that's AJ Cassavell, who is just the best dude in the business. All right, I'm talking. Okay, this is my line of questioning to the players last night. We're gonna go pregame first, and this was Manny Machado and Fernando TatÍs being pestered about the earthquake that hit San Diego yesterday.
We're gonna talk about earthquakes. No, yeah, I thought you want to talk about baseball.
Let's talk about baseball.
Or some earthquakes.
Let's go. How many have you been through?
Oh.
How many earthquakes
No, I'm not talking about earthquakes. I got better stuff. I gotta go ahead. I got better stuff to be talking about.
Fernando, how many earthquakes have you experienced in your life?
I think this is the second one. The third one, not much, but this one was really loud. But happy, everybody's just good.
Everything's okay at your place?
Yeah, everything good. Just a little bit of shakes, but nothing crazy.
Or some of your teammates maybe experiencing something like this for the first time and a little more worried?
I haven't talked to them yet, but yeah, I think there's some really crazy stories out there.
What did you do when it hit? Did you drop and find cover and go under a table?
Nah. I just started laughing because my mom is in the house, and I know how crazy they get, so I was just laughing at them actually, and I just kept sleeping in my bed.
Do kids do earthquake drills when you're in school back home?
Yeah, they show us, but I have a really good feeling my house is good built. Better be.
Different building code here in the Dominican?
Yeah, definitely. Different structures, stuff like that, yeah.
You guys know injuries are part of this game, but what is it like to be tested this early, this often?
It's tough. It's tough from both sides. You know, from the guys on the field, they're missing knowing that there's players in there hurt, and from being on the other side, I also have a lot of experience in that. It's not fun. You know, you definitely want to get back, but you need to take care of business first.
Oops. Okay, so that was Fernando TatÍs from yesterday. Now, I told you that the Jason Hayward, interesting dude. He's a great clubhouse guy. This is what he had to say about earthquakes, and also his answer when I asked him about the Padres being tested by adversity. I mean, they're without one of their all-star outfielders, and of course Jake Cronenworth and Yu Darvish. But he had a really interesting reaction. This is Jason.
This is about right now. Wow. I guess because we're in California, it's okay. I'll let it slide. I mean, first off, we got a game tonight, so that's cool. Good to be here at Petco, and everything is in place. And I'll say, I guess, like, shout out to any fam or friends, east of here that are wondering if we're all right. We're good. But that was my first earthquake as far as, like, not doing anything, enough to be aware of what was going on.
And you were okay with it?
As I was saying in the beginning of this, we're here at Petco Park. We got a series that we're starting off tonight. Happy to be here and have the opportunity to play in front of our fans and get after another wiggle.
You guys are facing a lot of adversity when it comes to injuries on this team. What jumps out at you about how you guys have responded, and how can that help a team down the stretch?
I think first and foremost, like, that's probably the first time I've heard adversity. We don't think about that, internally. We're just thinking about, trust our process, get ready to play who we're going to play that night. Pay attention to the detail, bring what we can bring, and kind of let the game come to you. Don't try and do too much, and when that moment happens, just be ready for it and seize it.
I know you're here to talk about the game, about the series, Chicago Cubs, but can you tell us just what you did when you realized it was an earthquake?
Sorry, what I did where, sir?
What did you do when the earthquake hit? And did it live up to what you expected from the movies and everything else?
I'm from the South and from Georgia, so I've been close to some tornadoes. Like there was one that went through our backyard in 2005, the year of Katrina. And that started off like, I think that's like rain. I think that's water. I think that's really loud wind. And then like, no, that's a tornado. This was kind of similar. Like I think someone's knocking on a door. Maybe that's the dryer. No, that's getting louder. There's no trains nearby. I'm like, all right, like this is an earthquake. So we're here. I think, again, like fortunate enough to say that, and let's go play baseball. That's what we're here to do.
Okay, so that was Jason Hayward yesterday. He wants to know part of our stupid earthquake questions. Yeah, and as you mentioned, from Big G Papa Smash, they all sound like they're strictly business. They do. They actually do. I mean, it seems like this clubhouse, some of the returning players, they've grown up a bit and they've got some good veteran leadership. All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining me today. All right, I promise you that by Thursday, I think I'm going to have a different background. I'm working on moving from my couch here in PB to my kitchen table. I'm going to have, a bookcase behind me. I'll have bobbleheads. I'll probably have my Khalil Green bobblehead from way back when from the Blue Padres. Number 3, very popular. I have some books. I'll get a bookcase. I love this book. Two Spectacular Seasons, Dynasties, Marcus Thompson. It's an awesome book. But anyways, I appreciate you guys joining me. There's a lot of content on Marty Time TV, including Dylan Cease, a cleanly shaven Dylan Cease on yesterday's game. Also talking about how phenomenal the Padres fans are. 47,000 people. I'm not sure where they're putting all these new Padre fans, but man, yesterday was a vibe. It was so much fun. These games are appreciated. This is a golden time to be a fan of the San Diego Padres. So, all right, guys, I appreciate your time. I will talk to you not tomorrow. I will have plenty of post-game commentary on Marty Time TV, and we'll join you on Thursday. We'll be checking in with John Conniff of Matt Friars and some other special guests this week. So thanks again for watching, and I will talk to you on Thursday. Bye, everybody.